There's too much skin on that piece, eh, Gary? Or peel. There, do you want to put it over here on this piece? And I'll take, let's save that there. There's another piece, not so much skin, not so much peel.
Oh.
Your fingernails are getting long again, eh?
Yeah.
Are you tired, Mom? Don't do that. Don't do that. Pat, pat, pat. You're supposed to hold my hand. My mother had stretches when she was well, and when she was well, she was just on top of the world. I mean, she just enjoyed having company over. She enjoyed making tea, having cookies. She was a good baker. She did preserves. She was a good cook. But then she would have episodes where she was down and she was depressed. Mom and Dad were having their 50th wedding anniversary. My parents were both very Christian people, and they loved the Lord, and it was just a lovely time. So that was 1994, and that was the last year my mother was well. It's really been sad because you see your mother go from sick off and on, yes, but she would be well again, and she would go back to a normal life, doing the cooking, the cleaning, and having friends over, and she just loved having her family over any time. To now, all of a sudden, she's hospitalized.
We don't know a whole lot about Phil's story. He has been in for many, many years. He has very few family members. He's 94, so most of them are gone as it is. He did have some brothers. I don't think he had any sisters, and his parents are obviously gone. So he's been pretty much on his own. To him, the hospital staff is his family, because that is who he sees every day and who takes care of him. We never know each day what's going to happen. Obviously, right now he's sleepy. Sometimes it's tears, sometimes it's major laughter. Every single day with him is different.
We're going to talk about you.
No, that's not too bad because I can run pretty fast.
I know you can run fast. You used to run long distance. Do you remember that?
That I can run what of no.
You used to run kilometers and kilometers.
When he retired, he started a tree business because he was bored. And he was cutting trees for everybody anyway. We'd work long days, and then when we were done, we were pretty sore. He always managed to find enough strength to get the rest of the equipment out. I'd be done. I'd be laying on the grass, wondering if I was alive or dead. But I think he saw changes in himself before we noticed them. Mm-hmm. And I think they agitated him, and I think they worried him. His nightmares were terrible. He had chronic nightmares. So he would stay in the room, and we would call him and wake him up and tell him, "Dad, you're dreaming. Dad, you're dreaming." And then when we would open the door, his hands would be all cut up. I'd take him for stitches a few times.
But the nightmares were just terrible. It was hard on us, but I mean, he was going through this. And he was coming in and out. Realizing that he was losing himself. And that was hard.
You ready to have some lunch, Andy? Here. Oh, yeah. Oh, hello, your eyes are open. This is good.
His last 2 years on the police force, he was the deputy chief. And he retired at 55, and at 57, this horrible disease took a hold of him. So we've kind of been living with this slowly since he was 57. We had a lake place, a trailer, and I'd say to him, "Oh, I think I slammed that door too hard. Could you go to the shed and get a screwdriver and bring that in and fix that door?" So he'd say, "Okay, hon," and he'd go out to the shed and he'd come back 5 minutes later, no screwdriver, and he'd sit down and he'd shove in one of his favorite John Wayne movies. So I'd go out to I call it the Mink Lake room, and I'd say, "Hon, are you gonna fix this cupboard door for me?" And he'd say, "Well, why didn't you ask me?" And that, to me, was a warning signal. I love you. That's what I miss too. A year ago when I'd say, "I love you," he'd say, "I love you back." He doesn't know. The odd time he might put those words together, but not very often. I think he does love me, but he can't put it into words.
Okay, Gary. He loved teaching. He taught for almost 35 years when he retired. In 1990, Gary's mother got Alzheimer's. And we'd known that her father had it, and one of her brothers had it. Oh, so we knew, and Gary knew. In 99, he said, he always complained about not being able to remember, and he often didn't know people's names. And I said, that's pretty usual. But then everything happened really fast, and Gary was admitted in 2011. Some days he has lots of fun still. He loves to dance, the music days. I always come for those days because I like to participate in them. Some days some days he sleeps, some days he's cranky. And I do find it difficult. It's our life, and I guess we can still live, and it's not always easy to know what to do. Other than one step at a time. I don't know. I don't have the answers exactly.
It's really difficult to sometimes be able to wrap your head around the fact that all of these changes are occurring. There is no predictability. Their mind is failing them, and this can be extremely disheartening to them and to their family members, because we have a picture of wellness. And when you start to care for your loved one, the elderly patient, you get to see that they're getting older. When we think about providing care in a timely way, one of the most important things is gentle care. What do they want? How can we promote the physiological and psychological comfort? Our patients are our greatest teachers. They teach us about love and fortitude and determination and grace under fire. We can learn that positive change is possible.
The family is of paramount importance. Often people who are suffering from dementia or other types of degenerative mental illness start to have difficulty remembering certain things or interpreting their environment, but one of the things that stays with them the longest is that recognition of familiar faces, and particularly family.
You're just a sweet woman, eh? Are you a sweet lady? Yeah.
I think people feel that the person is gone. And in fact, the person isn't gone. They've lost parts of themselves in many ways, but there are areas that we can still connect with. There is joy that we can evoke from interactions with them. I believe certainly that we see that connection between family and patients. So their role in visiting and assisting us with their care and informing us about who the person was and how they've changed and how they are now is extremely important to help us care for them as well.
The photoVOICE project is such an exciting opportunity. In seniors' mental health, we strive to have a person-centered approach. If an illness has developed later in life, for example dementia, that person has changed cognitively and may no longer be able to express verbally the things that are important to them. Knowing these things helps us to connect with the person, allows us to honor who they are, and points us to how to meaningfully engage the person. photoVOICE allows these adults to say, I'm important, I have a place in this community. Let me tell you how I matter. Let me tell you my story.
I ain't seen nothing like this before in my life. I ain't seen nothing like this before in my life. I ain't seen nothing like this before in my life.